Clifford, the 1994 movie starring Martin Short, Charles Grodin, and Mary Steenburgen, directed by Paul Flaherty. Released April 1st, 1994. This is a disturbing movie. And if you've seen this movie, you know what we're about to get into. Welcome back to the Ecto-Violence channel. My name is Alec. Today, we're talking about Clifford. No, not the big red dog. The 1994 cult classic starring Martin Short and Charles Grodin. This is, of course, the 1994 VHS release from Orion Home Video. Now, Orion did go out of business shortly after the release of this movie. In fact, I don't even know who ended up buying Orion and who owns this stuff now. So let's throw this tape in and talk about it. Immediately, there's a Orion Home Video logo that pops up. That's pretty sick. It's pretty much a static logo. There's not much going on. It's just there. There's an FBI warning, and I noticed there's a kind of an annoying scan line going down on this tape. Thankfully, it wasn't during the duration of the movie, but I love these indicators that the film has been modified to fit this screen. Lastly, there's an Orion Home Video logo again. This one's animated, and we get right into the movie. I'm a little confused at the framing devices because it almost opens up as a storybook, and then on the inside of that storybook, there's bookends. So it's kind of like there's double bookends on this thing. One is more literal than the other. I will say my head groups this together with movies like Drop Dead Fred. It's a little weird, it's a little whimsical, it's a little deranged, in the best ways possible. So this movie was originally filmed in 1990. It was planned for a release in the summer of 1991, but Orion was already going through financial issues, so they shelved the movie. In 1993, they shot the bookends and they released the movie in 1994.
Who's throwing? Ow!
The movie was still a commercial and critical failure, though. The airplane scene, okay? We're introduced to Clifford as a child, and he could not be more of an annoying asshole.
Stop hitting the back of my chair. I am trying to sleep.
I'm sorry, Miss Nice Older Person, but I don't know what you're talking about. Perhaps you were just having a nightmare about your early days in the circus.
He's rude and obnoxious, and he has a plastic dinosaur that he talks to.
It was very nice of the mean old lady to smash your collarbone, was it, Steph?
He talks his way into the cockpit of the plane and shuts the plane down so they can have an emergency landing in LA instead of Hawaii, where they're flying on his father's business trip, so that he can try to go to Dinosaur World. And let's be honest, would any of us do any less to go to Dinosaur World? I don't know. You're introduced to Uncle Martin, played by Charles Grodin, and this is another great character. Mary Steenburgen playing Sarah. Again, just how annoying this character is. He's playing a recorder and then immediately stops and starts blowing bubbles in his soda. Martin Short should have won an Oscar for this. I'm saying it. I mean, he's such a manipulative psychopath. When Uncle Martin comes to pick him up, he has written this whole I love Uncle Martin thing there. He's trying to manipulate him into taking in the dinosaur world.
Clifford. Don't reject me! Uncle Martin?
Come to find out, Uncle Martin designed Larry the Scary Rex, which, by the way, we will get to later, but is an awesome little roller coaster. I don't like roller coasters. I was traumatized as a kid, but I would ride this roller coaster. While he's at the airport, he gets picked up from his uncle, manages to steal a dog, a surfboard, a stereo, and a mountain bike. Now, Uncle Martin is trying to impress Sarah because she wants kids, so he brings little Clifford over there, the dog and everything in the back seat, and the first thing Clifford does is runs menacingly at the cat. Now, I'm a big fan of Alf, but holy shit, when a child does it, it's more disturbing. And when it's Martin Short playing a child doing it, it's off the charts level deranged. Then he sneaks into where she's showering, sticks his little dinosaur in there. Like, this kid's a nuisance, but it's hilarious because it's Martin Short doing all this shit. It's like 2 in the morning and he's up watching National Geographic, like nude women and eating donuts, when Uncle Martin comes in to shut him down and tells him, well, yeah, I'll take you to Dinosaur World tomorrow. He goes to work with him the next morning, sees Sarah, sees his boss, makes a bunch of wig jokes about his boss because he overheard them talking about his wig.
Say hello to my boss, Mr. Ellis.
Oh, isn't he a cute little fella? Hi, Sonny.
Good morning, Mr. Ellis. My, that's the bestest looking wig I've ever seen.
Oh, no, that's...
Martin's boss tells him that he's got to redesign this whole city project that he's doing in 2 days, so he can't take him to Dinosaur World anymore. Clifford loses his shit. And then when he pulls over in a gas station to get him chocolate, well, let's just take a peek.
What's the matter with you? Are you crazy? What are you doing? I'm terribly sorry.
Where's my son?
The last time I saw him, he was counting the money that he was given in the men's room.
This is something I used to watch with my mom, and even then she called it disturbing, and I didn't really understand what she meant because I was too young to realize that Martin Short was not a child when this was made. So that night, Martin has to take Clifford with him to Sarah's parents' anniversary dinner, and it's at this anniversary dinner that we get, like, the facelift talk.
By a lady who looks like this. What makes your face look like that, Uncle Martin?
That's what they call a facelift.
What's a facelift?
Oh.
Clifford switching out his Bloody Mary for just straight Tabasco sauce.
Next.
Aren't you going to say something nice about Sarah's mother?
And of course, switching out the chapstick for lipstick.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Oh, Martin, you are hysterical.
Not to mention the whole bomb threat thing.
In the name of all that's holy, somebody help my uncle. He's an innocent man, I tell you. An innocent man.
Sending Uncle Martin to jail. This movie is like Problem Child if it was even more disturbing. And when he gets out of jail, he takes him home. The scene at the kitchen table, my favorite scene from this movie.
If you do one thing that I find weird, which is, like your middle name, you're doing it right now. Can you just act like a human boy for 1 minute here? Look at me like a person. You can't do it for more than a few seconds. Look at me like a human boy. Don't mess around with me.
Ironically enough, when I was doing research for this review, I found out that this is also Nicolas Cage's favorite scene from this movie because he told Martin Short that on an airplane in 1995. Another one of my favorite jokes is, at one point, Martin is saying to Sarah,
Oh, don't worry about Clifford. He'll be happy if you give him a ton of sugar and a book about Hitler.
What's that supposed to mean?
That you don't know the first thing about Hitler. Clifford, he's a lying, conniving, evil little monster.
like, goddamn, 1994. I think children were seeing this movie. I mean, it's only a PG movie. You get the whole thing with San Francisco and tying himself up at home after having a party there.
Tell her about the bikers in your damn no-no place.
You stay away from him.
And eventually we get to the climax, where Clifford is taken in a straitjacket, finally, to Dinosaur World by Uncle Martin, who has absolutely lost his shit and is convinced the only thing I can do to right the situation is to kill the child. I must kill the child! To be fair, right before this, Clifford set off a bomb at his meeting. So, look at that matte painting, though, of the ride there. Theme park, man. And let's be honest, just look at this ride. You telling me you don't want to ride this? You telling me you don't want to get in line right now? I know this is not a real theme park, but damn.
Is that scary?
That was so much fun. By the way, how many years do you think you'll get for kidnapping me, Uncle Ten Most Wanted?
Life. Let's go a little faster, shall we?
Yes!
And I love that Uncle Martin almost kills him, and then he debates saving him when he is almost killing him.
Please, I'm scared.
Well, I'm scared of what might happen if I save you. I mean, maybe I should do mankind a tremendous favor and let that dinosaur eat you. I mean, who knows what horrors you might unleash? What if you got your hands on some plutonium? I just made the bestest nuclear bomb in the whole wide world.
It's honestly, it's magical perfection in 90s cult weirdness. If you haven't seen this movie, you have got to see it. I hope that I've convinced you. Before we get into the positives and the negatives and our rating, I want to briefly talk about the membership on the channel. You can now hit the join button. There's 3 different membership levels. I will say they are the same as the Patreon levels. The same content will be going up on both, but you can hit either one depending on if you have a membership on Patreon or if you just don't even want to deal with Patreon, you like using YouTube. You can do that now as well. And if you're interested in any t-shirts or anything like that, you can also check out my TeePublic. The link is in the description down below as well for that. And let's talk about the positives of Clifford. Now, obviously, we've talked about the cast and characters. Martin Short is Clifford. Again, as a child, I didn't really know what was happening here. This is why my mom called it disturbing, his performance specifically. If I had to describe it, I would say that. I would say disturbing, deranged, creepy, unsettling, and magical. Oscar-worthy. Brilliant. Genius. Charles Grodin, also great. Charles Grodin is an explosive straight man in this. It reminds me of Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and It reminds me of Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or Willie and Alf. The music, it's very whimsical. It's very funny. Like some of this late 80s, early the 90s stuff reminds me of a lot of these types of movies, like I mentioned before, Drop Dead Fred even. The themes in this of actually trying to be a likable human, because eventually, if not, you're just going to be a piece of shit who's alone at the end of the day. And the comedy. While I have been going on about how creepy and disturbing this is, it's hilarious. And the creepy and disturbing's rolled into that. You can't have one without the other, and that's why I think this movie is so good. And as we talk about the negatives, again, some of those are going to be for you, how creepy it is, how disturbing it is. I mean, it's not for everyone, by any means. And as we come to a rating for this, I am going to say a 3.5 out of 5 hearts. This movie is not perfect. It's not Ghostbusters. It's not Back to the Future for me, you know? But it is in this weird corner of like disturbing comfort movies that are kind of funny, kind of creepy, kind of coming of age a little bit. And I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. And if you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.